Hey those are welcome back in another Paul Master video. So this video is actually, a lot of folks actually suggested me to do this, which is, just going back at a lot of the spotlight units and looking at what potential grid expansions they could have, right? Well, not what they could have, but like more so what I would hope them to have. I mean, sometimes what I hope they get actually clashes with comes out on whatever DNA gives them, right? I mean, I was hoping for big, sync nukes for like Karen and Cynthia, and that's exactly what Karen and Cynthia got. And sometimes it doesn't, like for example the Chris grid, which look, don't get me wrong, the Chris grid expansion is fantastic. I would say it would be much better than whatever the heck I would have thought I'd want Chris to get, right? And so sometimes they're obviously not the same. That's that's prediction. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. I mean, I'm not I'm not Paul the Octopus. Happy World Cup month, by the way. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk a bit about these. So I'm gonna start with the 2019 spotlights, because so far it seems that they are doing these first, right? I mean, we got the Cairn grid, we got the Fraligator expansion, we got, what was the other one? Glacia as well. These are all 2019 spotlight units. Not saying that that's how they're gonna go. In fact, I kind of have a feeling the next one might just be Kukui, just because he's like the last summable 5-star without a EX yet, and they if they're gonna give us Kukui EX, they might as well just give it the EX and the grid expansion at the same time, maybe. So yeah, but for this video specifically, we're gonna start with the 2019 ones. And also let me know in the comments down below, and like the video if you guys do want to me to keep doing this series for like all, I guess, the spotlight units, at least up to a point. I mean, I don't think we're gonna get like a grid expansion for like Hugh anytime soon, right? Hugh, that's how I pronounce it, but since he's a bit new. But yeah, if you want to keep see me keep doing these, maybe some of the poke fairs as well, right? Because the poke fairs and spotlights are a bit different, although there's Cynthia did get the treatment of the 3 out of 5, right, grids, well as the poke fair so far have been 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, right, outside of Cynthia. So we don't know how they're planning with these. Hopefully the poke fairs, going forward, some of them could also get these kind of treatments as well, but we'll see, right? So anyways, okay, starting off with some of the launch units over here. So, all right, we already have Chris, we already have Karen. Let's check out Brendan. So, I know the whole meme is oh my God, Brendan, please, Mega Sceptile. And it looks like that's not gonna be the case. I was hoping this would be the direction they'd go for, right? But apparently it doesn't seem like that's what they're going. It's not like a full power boost. It's just a grid expansion, which I mean is still fine, right? Because God damn, he could use some grid expansions, right? For quite a few things, I'd say. So, anyways, Brendan and Sceptile, the #1 question, right? Because these grids, do keep in mind there's usually 2 stat nodes and then 4 passive nodes, right? Which again are locked behind either 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 for the passive. These are locked, by the way. People just don't notice because like everyone has like 5 out of 5 Karen or whatever, right? Well, I wouldn't say everyone, but like most people have like 5 out of 5 Karens, 5 out of 5 Glacias. So yeah, for Brendan, the big question here is he finally going to get Dauntless for his Leaf Storm, right? Is he finally going to get freaking Dauntless for his Leaf Storm? Obviously that's the big question, right? Because if you do get Dauntless in the grid, and usually these grids are relatively cheap nodes, right? Like Superpowered 5 would otherwise be like a 10 or 12 energy node, but for these expansions it's just so much cheaper, right? Critical Focus, right? I mean, this would be a 6-7 energy node generally, right? And then since it's the expansion, it's only like 3. And then like the stat nodes are like straight up free, right? Inertia would easily be a 10 energy node, so these are usually just like half the energy, right? So for Dauntless, it might be still a bit more expensive because like certain passives, they don't always cost the same, right? Certain units have the same passives cost a bit more if they're a bit more useful to this unit, or if they're in like weird spots, right? So I'm not gonna say Dauntless is gonna be like a cheap 2 energy, 3 energy thing. It might be. I mean, I'd say 3 energy would be pretty reasonable, right? But if they do decide to make it like a 5 energy thing, it's probably just because, again, Dauntless is just very going to be very useful for Brendan, right? But the thing with Dauntless is once he actually does get, if he does get Dauntless, then you can finally switch out the lucky skills for extra Crit Strike 2. So him getting Dauntless would be the equivalent of him getting another Crit Strike 2, basically, right? So then again, you could just free up his lucky skill slot for Crit Strike 2, right? Or super you know, power 3 if you want that instead for some reason. So yeah, as for the stat notes, probably just gonna be, oh, actually, his stat notes might be a bit interesting. It might be a bit interesting what his stat notes, because he is a mixed unit, right? Attack, special attack, you know, they're the same, right? He has the sync is physical, the DPS is special, so he might actually just get like plus 20 attack and plus 20 special attack, which would be all right, I guess. Right, but yeah, Dauntless is the big one. As for some other things, in terms of like any multipliers he could get, I really hope he doesn't get more sun multipliers, right? Like maybe like grassy terrain multipliers. I'm not even sure if I really want that either, to be honest. But like he's not really primed for any like specific multiplier, just because like he doesn't really do too much in terms of like, you know, stats wise. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, it's not like, you know, he has well, like, he does have ramming speed already, but like I guess maybe like brain power would be nice, right? That's always just gonna be an easy one, right? Because he, you know, he is a unit that can max out his special attack. Usually units that can max out their special attacks generally have that. Maybe another amped up, I guess, just to make the inertia ramming speed less, like, you know, bad to pick up. Although that is not that big of a deal. You probably just want to like run a speed support with him as well anyways, right? As for some other things, honestly, it's just give him Dauntless, man. Everything else is just extra. Just give him Dauntless, please. All right, although it's also not the end of the world if it doesn't get Dauntless, but it would just be very, very nice and convenient, wouldn't it, right? And again, anything that could help buff his speed would be nice too. Any multipliers are extra. All right, so that's Brendan and Sceptile. Again, I would not really expect Mega Sceptile, but if it happens, it happens. That'll be nice, right? But we'll see, we'll see. So next launch unit, we got Phoebe and Dusknoir over here. So I have high hopes for this unit. I mean, they made Glacia, which is a much worse support to begin with that base, right? They made Glacia relatively usable. So if they can make Glacia support usable, they can make Phoebe usable, all right? So I'm not that she's not usable at the moment. She's still, you know, she's much more usable than Glacia was before, right? So, yeah, so Phoebe, a few big issues. Biggest issue is the freaking speed, man. 188 speed. Although this is Dusclops, it's gonna be slightly higher, like Dusknoir, but still, like 188 speed is just like garbage, right? This is like, wow, this is like a parked car's speed, basically, right? And it's even worse because she is a support that is a 2-gauge move user. I mean, it would be less bad, it'd still be bad, but it would be less bad if she was like a 1-gauge spammer. But no, she's not a 1-gauge spammer. She has a 2-gauge over here, right? So number one thing for Phoebe is please some speed stuff. Oh my god, whether it's like a move gauge refresh 9 on Shadow Punch or whatever, like the one where it gives you like 2 gauges back, or like just free move next for like everything would be really nice. Or like maybe team speed buffs, right? That could help. Maybe move gauge acceleration would help. I don't think any of them really solves the issues because her speed is so terrible. It won't solve it, but it would help, right? But I also don't think speed's her only issue. As for the stat notes, probably just please some speed. But also low-key, some like defenses maybe? Or like HP, because the other thing with Phoebe is she's not that good of a tank, man. She just isn't that good of a tank. Like, first of all, her HP is not that great. Her defenses are solid, like 260. Again, this is still Dusclop, not even Dusknoir. Dusknoir is like, okay, here's Dusknoir. Like yeah, like these are solid stats defenses. The HP is not that much, but like that doesn't really save her from being like a bad tank, because like outside of that she doesn't really have anything, right? It's like Team Toughen Up, which is all the way over here, which is not that great to pick up, right? And even so, it's relatively slow. It's only a 50% chance to get +1 defense when you get hit, right? And then it's like On the Ropes, which is in a pinch, which, you know, you want to get there. So some defensive stuff would be nice. Whether it's buffs to straight up defense, special defense would be decent, or maybe like damage reduction, like Stunner Stuff or something like that. But yeah, she definitely needs some freaking defense stuff too. Because, yeah, that really sucks. She does have Vigilance built in, so I guess that could help in terms of, like, lucky skill-wise. You could maybe give her, like, a Sentry entry, or was the other one a Wise entry? The other one for, like, buffing. That's not Wise entry is, special attack, right? But anyways, the one that gives you, like, +2 special defense on entry, or, like, something like a healthy healing or whatever, right? Just some defensive stuff for her, because she's also not that great of a tank. But the number one thing is still gauges, right? It doesn't have to be speed specifically. If it's just some like gauge stuff, that'll be very, very nice. Also, another thing that really sucks, like, this unit's not that good, right? But yeah, another thing that slightly sucks is the attack buffs on Unbreakable Bonds has to be when you're like low HP, because if you're not low HP, you're just like getting like +1, which like sucks, right? So maybe a better way to buff attack, but I might be asking for a bit too much. But to be fair, this unit needs a lot of things to make her to fix this unit. So what can you do, man? What can you freaking do with this unit? Next, we got the OG best unit in the game, and was the best unit in the game for a very, very, very long time until the meta changed away from co-op, right? And we got Balville and stuff, right? So Lycanroc, bro. Olivia Lycanroc. She has a few things she kind of has to fix. First of all, is her DPS. Her DPS is pretty piss poor. Even if we do get like Rock Zone in the future, it's still not going to be good. She does have a solid sync. Definitely does have a solid sync. And she does have inertia. I feel like in terms of what she can get, you know, maybe like a Weathered Warrior, right? I don't know if Weathered Warrior 5 is a bit too much to ask, because, you know, Weathered Warrior is pretty powerful, because she is a unit you want to run in Sand, right? Sand Blaster 5, Surging Sand 5 here, or Surging Sand 3 here, right? That would be an extra 50% multiplier to her regular moves, to her Stone Edge, right? Also to her Sync, which would be really, really massive of a buff, right? But I mean, was it Raihan, right? Get like a pretty solid Weather Warrior. I think he got like Weather Warrior 3, or, oh, I don't have Pokefierce, but yeah, Raihan got like Weather Warrior 3, so could Lycanroc probably get a Weather Warrior. That would be really, really nice. As for some other downsides, I mean, she just, like, in terms of her upsides, right, at least, she has very, very high physical attack. Her speed's alright. I mean, it's not that bad. She does have, like, amped up, so she does buff her speed, so it's generally not that big of an issue for her. I guess her other issue is, like, her special defense would be, like, very, very suspect after you use her, training move here, debuffing it even further, which, I mean, it's not even good at base, but also you're a striker, you don't really get hit too much, right? It's only like AoE moves and sync moves, so like you should be fine there. I don't really think they need to fix her special defense debuff thing. I mean, if they do, that's all right, I guess. It's not unbending. What was the special defense one? I don't remember. Actually, does she? Oh no, she doesn't have it. Okay, well, never mind then. Damn. So yeah, I guess just for her, like, just multipliers on a regular move, right? I mean, I guess she could also have ramming speed as well, since she is a unit that buffs her own speed. So ramming speed would be nice. Again, Weather Warrior would be nice. Maybe soften up on sync, maybe sharp entry. So, you know, in that case, you only need to, if she gets sharp entry, you only need to use Hard as Diamonds once to max out her crit, which, you know, the crit +2 is enough for Stone Edge, but not for her sync, right? Her sync doesn't have that extra +1 crit. But, you know, if you do have, like, soften up in there, and that would also help a bit, right, with her sync nuke. So, yeah, in terms of, yeah, and for her, it's just really fix the DPS, right? And maybe some crit stuff to make her, you know, in terms of helping her sync doesn't really need the extra damage, right? So if they don't go with Weather Warrior, they just go with like Searching Sand 5, that would still be fine, right? But it's not like her sync is like crazy powerful at the moment, so like it wouldn't hurt if they give her some extra damage on her sync, right? But for her sync, it's more so the crit thing, right? Being an EX striker. So yeah, that's that. Next up, we got Blue and Mega Pidgeot over here. So Blue and Mega Pidgeot is doing all right at the moment. I mean, Blue and Mega Pidgeot should be pretty obvious. What you kind of want Blue and Mega Pidgeot to get is just the Karen treatment, man. Just give her the Karen treatment, give her the Cynthia treatment, right? More so the Karen. I mean, he's a bit more compatible with Karen in terms of comparisons, because Cynthia, at least you never had to sync with Cynthia, right? Because you could just, like, you know, sync with the EX support and just like Earthquake, right? Whatever, right? But like with Karen, you literally had to sync. If you don't sync with Karen, you don't have, you know, you're doing like nothing. Same thing with Pidgeot over here. If you don't sync with Pidgeot, you straight up don't have Hurricane. Like your damage dealing moves are like Air Slash and Air Cutter, which both suck, right? So as for stat buffs, it's probably just gonna be the same as his Mega stat nodes, right? Special attack and speed. Which, if that's the case, that could be really, really nice, because, you know, he has the extra Mega, right? The multipliers, which would be really, really nice to get some extra special attack and speed. Be slightly cringe if you get some defenses, but hopefully it's just special attack and speed. Don't make it complicated, DNA. Just keep it simple. Special attack and speed. Yeah. As for some other things, right? Sync nuke wise, maybe something like a sync power flux, maybe. I really hope it's not the one where, you know, the sync nuke is based on like the accuracy one, because he does have the accuracy or evasion, right? Either one of those would be slightly cringe. So I hope it's nothing based on accuracy or evasion, because he's not that great at buffing it, right? It's literally only just like +1 here. Like, unless they make it so that the trainer move gives like, he gets like an extra like Smile, which get extra +1 accuracy, evasion, and crit when you use Smile, then oh, that would be slightly less bad. You still won't max it out, but you know, I mean, unless you're doing a showcase video, if you're just doing regular runs, all right, +4 is still fine, I guess, right? But yeah, it really depends on what the sync nukes are going to be. But he definitely, the number one thing he wants is just sync nuke stuff, right? Make his sync much more powerful. I mean, his sync isn't like actually as bad as I think like Karen's was before, but you know, it's still obviously not that great. Give him a few multipliers here and there for sync, right? Just pray they're not like terrible, man. Just pray they're not terrible. Because I don't think he really has any other ways, right? For getting the for getting accuracy. It's like pinpoint entry, right? Which is definitely not that great. It's not in a great spot. It's not a terrible spot to pick up, but it's also not a great spot. I guess another thing he could get, which would be nice, is special attack up on entry, because he has a mega, so. In that case, you could just use X special attack twice, and then he has +1 on entry, and then after you mega, you get another +1 to max it out. That could be nice, right? As well, I think it's wise entry, right? It's one of those entries. Oh no! I think it's grand entry. Grand entries for special attack, and wise entry is, I think, for special defense. Anyways, so yeah, you give some of those entry stuff, give him a few sync nuke multipliers. Again, hopefully it's not based on accuracy or evasion, but if it is, then you know, maybe some extra ways to buff your accuracy evasion better. That would be nice. That would help. An extra aggravation won't hurt either, I guess. Oh, you know what? He could actually have a sync nuke multiplier based on confusion, because Hurricane does have a chance to confuse, so like maybe a higher chance to confuse on his hurt, which would not be that great, by the way, because the issue with him is, you know, before you sync, right? Because he can't actually confuse the opponent, you know, if he doesn't sync in the first place, right? Which is why stuff like Harry is just so cringe for him. Like, you're not gonna be used. Like, what are you doing? Like, after you sync, you don't even have the, you know, you can't even flinch the opponent. So you have to use someone else to help you flinch, which is why stuff like this is just very cringe that he got stuff like this, right? So yeah, blue could be a bit problematic to fix, but if they do it right, he could definitely be very powerful. It just depends on how they do it, right? If they go the cringe route of multipliers based on like confusion or flinch or accuracy or evasion, that could be slightly bad. But I don't know, if they want to keep it simple, I feel like sync power flux would be very simple. I guess Rising Tide wouldn't be that bad for him either, because he does have a, you know, decent amount of random stats that he buffs. So we'll see what they could do for blue. Next up, we got Lyra and Meganium, which Lyra Meganium is pretty decent at the moment, right? It's not like she really urgently needs one, but she definitely got outclassed, unfortunately, by the time she actually got her, you know, EX, right? Now that, you know, SS Morty's a thing, obviously you don't really expect her to be competing with someone like SS Morty, but you know, she still has her upsides. I mean, once you do have Sun up on the stage, she is definitely a much better buffer than SS Morty. SS Morty is much better tank, which is also, you know, speed unit, which is one of SS Lyra's, or not SS, regular Lyra, which one of Lyra Meganium's biggest issues over here. She is not that great of a tank. You see, oh, what, 882 HP, that's a lot of HP. Well, okay, it doesn't matter, her defenses are terrible. 136 physical defense is like disgustingly bad for a tank, right? 191 special defense is also not great. It's not as bad as 136, but it's also not good, right? But she at least does have light screen to help, you know, combat that a bit. But yeah, make her tankier. That's the number one thing with her. Make her tankier. It would also be very good if she could have Sun on entry, right? Because if she does get, like, that's the other thing with Lyra Meganium, because she only gets, at the moment, she only gets Sun off sync, right? And the issue with that is that means you can't really start buffing, because the Sunny Side Up is an incredibly powerful, well, you know, offensive buffing, like straight up attacks, special attack and speed, +2 in Sun, right? So like theoretically, she's like one of the rare units that you could, you know, max out your entire team's crit with crit squad here. Max out your entire team's crit, attack, special attack, and speed. But you could only max out the attack, special attack, and speed, or get +2 at least, right? If you don't get the Ampere Fresh, you can only get +2 on that after you sync, which is very, very bad, because you generally want to max out your offensive, you know, damage dealer's stats as fast as possible. So Sun on entry would definitely help, right? Even though it's not going to attribute to the DPS directly, but the stat buffs on Sunny Side Up would be immense, right? Especially getting that speed early on would be very, very good for gauge management as well, right? So Sun on entry would be fantastic, and just, you know, defensive stuff, right? Whether it's against Sentry entry, Wise entry, some of that stuff, or Sterner stuff, I think it's called, right? For damage reduction, just, yeah, make her survive better. I know she has like 2 different ways of healing, one in Sun and one's just on this for gradual healing. But yeah, it doesn't really help that much when your defenses are just piss poor, right? And also, as for her stats, they might give her speed just because she has like terrible speed here. But I'm just hoping for like defense, special defense, maybe HP, but more so defense, more than HP, right? I mean, please. All right, yeah. Lyra could definitely have potential to be something really, really good, especially if they give her Sun on entry, right? But otherwise, as for some other stuff, I don't know. Maybe on a roll, some like high on a roll for Energy Ball would be nice, but that's all secondary. The bigger stuff are more so the Sun and defensive side of things. Next up, we got Hilbert, right? He is a really, really good buffer already, right? I mean, he gets this relatively fast. In terms of like his like support stat buffing parts, there's not too much he could really get. I guess, okay, if you get some like defenses, that would be nice, or like Pep Rally on X speed, so you don't need the MP Refresh on X speed. That would be decent. But other than that, he does have a really, really big issue of he's not that great of a tank, right? His defenses are better than the Lyra's, but that is a low bar. He doesn't have any, you know, physical or special defensive buffs himself, so just any like defensive buffs here would be really, really good. As for the stat nodes, hopefully it's just, you know, defense, special defense, maybe HP, right? Depends, right? So yeah, hopefully they don't really try to make him a damage dealer, because they sometimes do kind of try to do that a bit. But I don't know. It's just give him like defensive stuff, right? Whether it's Sentry or Wise entry or like team defense slash special defense buffs when he uses one of his trainer moves, right, would be decent. So yeah, some immediate defensive help would be really, really nice, I guess, right? Does he have any healthy healing? I don't think he does, right? Although you could, if he doesn't get any of that, you could still get that on lucky skills. But like healthy healing, you get on lucky skills. But stuff like Sentry entry and Wise entry are very, very hard to get on lucky skills because the rates are so low, right, for the silver ones. But yeah, Hilbert, just make him tank better, please, so he doesn't get like 2-shot on like every single stage. That, you know, does relatively decent damage. Also, another reason why, like, you know, I don't think they're just gonna go in order of release, because, you know, some units are just better than others, right? I mean, even though Hilbert and like Lyra are very, very old units, I mean, and even Brendan to an extent, right? Well, I mean, he's old, but even though they are really, really old units, they're also they're still pretty relevant at the moment, right? In a way that they don't really actually need a grid expansion as badly as like some of the even newer units, right? Like Kukui, like Kukui or like Ethan, right? Maybe, which are units. Wallace, that's a really big one. Clement, right? Guzma, like a lot of other units definitely need the grid expansions more than them. But again, we're just doing the videos in an order, I guess, if you wanted to see more, of course. So next up, we got Hilda Emboar. Hilda Emboar is actually pretty decent at the moment. I mean, she runs really, really well with SS Mate. I mean, almost every fire type unit runs well with SS Mate. Well, almost every unit runs well with SS Mate with the extra, you know, team speed buffs, all that stuff, and you know, physical defense debuffs and sync move shredding. I mean, it's just a good unit, man. But Hilda herself, right? I mean, it would be nice if she gets the Chris treatment. I mean, it would be nice for anyone to get the freaking Chris treatment, right? You know, the extra a physical, like plus 40 freaking physical attack buffs, and like an extra sync nuke multiplier, and like, you know, some things to help their self-sufficiency, multipliers. I mean, like, anyone with the SS Chris buff would be, like, fantastic. But, I guess just, like, recoil, make it not as bad, right? Just, I guess, recoil removal would be nice. That might be a bit too much to ask, but, like, maybe, like, Standfast 9, maybe, would help a lot, I guess. But also just more self-buffs, right? Although, again, if you do run it in a good enough team, like something with like a SS Morty or SS May, right, those generally make it so that her self buffs aren't that much of an issue, right? But if she could get some more self buffs, that would still be nice. I mean, it's always going to be a good thing, right? Or maybe crit buffs on top of that. But yeah, other than that, just really stand fast stuff. Should she get multipliers? I mean, yeah, I mean, multipliers are always good for anyone, right? At the moment, her Sync Nuke is inertia. Maybe a Haymaker, extra Haymaker would do wonders. If not, if they don't want to go that crazy, they could do Solar Flare 5 maybe for multipliers. But yeah, it's more so like for her, it's just recoil stuff, right? So anyways, I guess... Yeah. As for the stat nodes, it's probably going to be a bit more rather like speed and attack rather than like double attack. Although again, if she gets double attack, like I ain't complaining, man. But yeah. Anyways, moving on to Elesa over here. Elesa probably needs a bit more help. First of all, she also, you know, recoil sucks for her, right? As well. So obviously just more recoil reduction stuff, same as Hilda in that sense. But also her damage just isn't like as good, right? So she definitely would appreciate multipliers. She already has ramming speed, she already has inertia, so in terms of like what multiplier she could get, she does have that guaranteed crit thing, right? So they might give her like a crit strike multiplier based on that, which would be very, very good. Or, you know, I think it's called power induction, right? That's the one where you get multipliers based on like if you're in like electric terrain. I think it's called power induction, but you know, anyways, anything that powers up or moves an electric terrain would be pretty nice too. I hope she doesn't get paralysis synergy, more paralysis synergy stuff, right? I guess I mean, it won't be that bad, but I'd say I'd prefer some other things to that, right? You could get the one that N got, the shock thing, whatever, right? Which powers up both her sync and regular moves if the opponent is paralyzed. That wouldn't be too bad, right? Especially if you are running Thunderbolt Red with her, right? I mean, you don't have to worry the paralysis part, right? So we'll see what she could get, right? But her number one job is still to stay alive, at least, with the Wild Charge not taking herself out. I hope none of them get the Hugh stuff. That would be very it'll be funny, but also probably not the best idea over there, right? So. Next off, we got Kaylin and Reuniclus, one of the rare psychic damage users that like isn't actually good. So yeah, for Reuniclus, I really hope they don't keep going for the it's a tank that can do damage thing, because like for the love of God, she is not that good. There's so many better like damage dealers that could tank better than like this Reuniclus, man. Like, please stop doing that. Make her do damage. Her damage is not that good. Give her multipliers. All right, this one's simple. Give her multipliers. Give her more special attack, even though she has a decent amount. Maybe speed instead of making some quirky, you know, HP, defense, specialty. Like, make her tank. No. Stop trying to make her tank. Please, make her do damage. She does not do good damage. Right, so multipliers, brain teaser. Not brain teaser. What was the one? Anyways, the one based on like buffing special attack. That would be nice. I guess it won't be the end of the world if she has like multipliers based on defense, special defense. It will not be that great, but she just needs multipliers, man. Multipliers maybe, you know, based on if she's in like psychic terrain or whatever, right? I guess it would be nice if she has Sync Move Countdown, would help a bit. Especially if you are running her with something like an Anniversary May, that could be nice, because a lot of psychic units also do have Sync Move Countdown, so if she could contribute to that a bit. Not talking about freaking Hidden Power Propulsion, because that's not that good. But yeah, that could probably help a bit as well. But yeah, just give her freaking multipliers. Just make her do more damage. This one's very simple to fix. Just make her do more damage. Her damage is bad. Make her do more damage. Don't try any of that funny stuff. It was not good for her before. It's not gonna be good for her now either. Give her damage. All right. Last spotlight unit of 2019. This might be the hardest one to fix, because Grimsley Liepard, he just doesn't have a defined role. Just does not have a defined role at all, right? There's no role like literally the only thing this guy is like useful for is like if you have Cresselia Legendary Gauntlet in the future, which still hasn't happened yet. Cresselia still hasn't been in any Legendary Gauntlet, which is a good thing because, you know, Cresselia is probably one of the more restrictive ones, right? It's like Cresselia, Moltres, and like maybe like Latios. Like, yeah, it's one of the more restrictive ones, so thank God they haven't. But like literally his only use so far is like you use him to like snatch stats from like Cresselia and like Latios maybe. So yeah, does not have a defined role, right, for general use, instead of just making like an insanely like niche unit that only really does this one thing. So it's gonna be really hard for him, right? His DPS is bad. There's like almost no saving. Like I can't say for certain there's no saving, like, because okay, like if they really wanted to, they could give him like Crit Strike 20, which if they do give him Crit Strike 20, yeah, he's gonna be freaking good, all right, DPS wise. But let's be real, that's probably not going to happen, right? Because again, if you look at the stats, right, attack 400 or 240, 400 would be actually be good. 246 attack, 148 special attack, and his main damage dealing move, like, that's the Dark Pulse, right? And then you have like 148 special attack, which is going to be just trash, right? Even if he does get extra, you know, attack, special attack nodes, it's still not going to make it that much better. So I don't know. I hope he just doesn't go the route of trying to be a damage dealer, because it's just going to be really hard. And even if they do give him like some really good multipliers, he's still just going to be like maybe an average, maybe below average still damage dealer, right? So please don't try to make him a damage dealer. just give up on that. I don't know. They're just gonna, oh my god, they're gonna give him like Sync Power Flux or something. I could see it coming already. If Rising Tide, oh bro, he's gonna get like Rising Tide, Sync Power Flux, which, I mean, if he does get both of them, he could be a decent Sync Nuke, but like, still, it's just not gonna be that good, man. I feel like the only like thing you could really go for this guy is just make him like a support, so like while he's there for you in the Cresselia, Latios, Legendary Arena Gauntlets, there for that one snatch every bar. At least he could also contribute to some other things by like buffing your team's crit, buffing your team's speed, maybe a few like defense crush, maybe help debuff the opponent even more, right? Because again, that would help, especially against like Latios, right? It's just extra things to help debuff, right? Maybe Mind Games 9 on his Snarl, so while you're well, not Snarl, he doesn't have freaking Snarl. Okay, well then give him something to debuff the opponent's special attack too as well. Maybe just give him some debuffs. Right, so outside of him just straight up snatching the opponent's stats, also make him so that he could like debuff as well, right? Because then again, that would be pretty nice against something like a Latios, right? So I don't know, just make him a bit better at the literally only two things that he does. It's really just hard to make him like generally useful unit unless you just go crazy on the multipliers and make him like a good damage healer. Please do not go for the evasion tank thing either. That thing is also cringe and bad. Do not try to make him a tank. Holy crap, he's not a good tank. just make him like debuff or something. I don't know, man. Make him debuff against, you know, it's like physical defense, physical special defense, debuff evasion maybe, although that would kind of like render his like snatch thing a bit useless. Debuff special attack, because both Latios and Cresselia are mostly special, right? And I don't know, don't make him tank, don't make him do damage, just make him maybe support, maybe debuff, right? So yeah, hard to save this unit, make him into like a generally good useful unit for like all things. But I guess if they do want to just make him good in that one niche, much better in that one niche, because again, it's almost impossible to make this like generally good unit, right? So anyways, that's really this one, I guess. Hope y'all enjoyed. Guys, think in the comments down below. Again, let me know if guys want me to continue going through these, right? So have fun, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Become a channel member for the cool emojis. Also leave a super thanks if you want to help out the channel as well. And yeah, have fun. I'll see you guys in the next one then.